You have goals, real ones. You think about them in the shower, on your commute, in that quiet space before you fall asleep. You know what you want to do. You can picture the version of yourself that's doing it. And yet, you open your laptop, and then you close it. You write day 1 on a new page, and somehow day 2 never comes. You start strong for a week, and then fall off so completely, it's like you were never even trying. And the story you tell yourself, the one that lives rent-free in the back of your skull, is that you're just lazy. That other people have drive and discipline and something you were born without. That's the story. Let's start with what's actually happening. Psychologists who study motivation make a critical distinction that most people never hear. They separate behavioral laziness from what's called motivational depletion. Laziness, in the clinical sense, describes a consistent pattern of avoidance with no underlying cause. Someone who genuinely prefers minimal effort across all domains of life. But motivational depletion is something else entirely. It's when someone with clear goals and real desire systematically fails to act on them, not because they don't care, but because something else is quietly draining the engine. Here's the thing most people don't know. Ambition and action are not the same system. They live in different parts of your brain. Ambition, wanting things, imagining futures, feeling pulled towards something better, is largely governed by the prefrontal cortex, your planning and visioning center. But action, the physical initiation of behavior, runs through the basal ganglia, which depends heavily on dopamine signaling. When those two systems are out of sync, you get a very specific, very painful experience. You want deeply, but you can't seem to move. Psychologists call this motivational dysregulation. Most people call it laziness. So what breaks the connection? Research points to 3 primary culprits. The first is chronic stress and cortisol overload. When your system is under sustained pressure, financial stress, relational tension, work overwhelm, or even the low-grade ambient anxiety of modern life, your body redirects resources away from the planning and initiation systems towards survival circuits. Essentially, your brain decides there are more important things than your goals right now. It's not giving up on your ambition. It's triaging. You feel stuck not because you stopped caring, but because your nervous system is quietly in emergency mode. The second culprit is what researchers call the intention-action gap, and it's one of the most well-documented phenomena in behavioral psychology. Studies from the University of Bath found that people routinely overestimate the motivating power of their own goals. We assume that wanting something badly enough will be sufficient to produce action. It isn't. The strength of an intention predicts action only weakly. What actually predicts action is the presence of implementation intentions, the specific when, where, and how of execution. Most people set destinations. Almost no one builds the road. And without the road, the most burning ambition in the world stalls at the starting line. The third culprit is perfectionism, but not the kind you might expect. Not the careful, detail-oriented perfectionism that produces excellent work. This is what psychologists call maladaptive perfectionism, the unconscious decision that if you can't do something perfectly, it's safer not to do it at all. It sounds irrational when you say it out loud, but look at your own patterns. Do you research and plan and prepare far beyond the point of usefulness? Do you wait for the right moment, the right system, the right version of yourself? Do you feel a specific kind of paralysis when a task feels too important to risk doing badly? That's not laziness. That's fear in a productivity costume. Here's where this gets uncomfortable in the best way. All 3 of these patterns, the stress-depleted nervous system, the gap between wanting and doing, the perfectionism that masquerades as high standards, they all have something in common. They are learned responses. Your brain built them because at some point, they made sense. Avoiding action when you felt overwhelmed protected you from failing while already depleted. Waiting for perfect conditions protected you from exposure and criticism. Defaulting to planning over doing felt safe because planning never fails. These are adaptive strategies that have outlived their usefulness. And the reason they're so hard to break isn't weakness. It's that your brain is incredibly good at protecting you from discomfort, even when the discomfort is exactly what you need. The research is clear on what actually works, not motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. What works is behavioral activation, taking the smallest possible action before you feel ready. Studies from behavioral activation therapy, originally developed for depression, show that action consistently precedes motivation, not the other way around. You don't wait until you feel like it. You do the smallest version of the thing. You open the document, you write one sentence, you make one call, and the act of doing triggers the dopamine response that makes continuing feel possible. You've been waiting for the engine to start before you put fuel in. It works the other way. The version of you that has it figured out isn't someone with more willpower. They're not harder workers. They're not more disciplined in some fundamental character sense. They've just stopped believing that how they feel right now is an accurate prediction of what they're capable of. They've learned that motion creates motivation more reliably than motivation creates motion. And they've stopped waiting to feel ready, because ready is a feeling that arrives after you start, not before. If this video put language to something you've been carrying for a while, subscribe, because that's what this channel exists for. And if you want to go deeper, the psychology of people who self-sabotage explains why even when everything is in place, something in you finds a way to get in the way. It's more connected to this than you might think. Click it. You'll see yourself in the first 30 seconds.